Welcome to another episode of Health Your Way Podcast, where we discuss health issues ranging from physical, mental, emotional, as well as current facts.
Today's podcast is called Slow Down and Live, Health is Wealth. And my guest is Heneka Watkis-Porter. Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
No, I did. But thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
You did. I did
did.
good.
You
Okay. Is an entrepreneur, a coach, a five times author, international speaker, podcast, and host of an online event. And I really want to have a conversation with her today because I think she has a lot to say and share. And I really want to say thank you for reaching out and being part of this platform with me today.
Absolutely, Mo. I'm looking forward to what you're going to be bringing, your awesomeness that you're already bringing, and me sharing that with you and your community is an honor, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm, as for everybody, because you're a five-time author and international speaker, like I am, and you seem to have a lot on your plate. What led you to the path of entrepreneurship? Like, why did you feel like this is the path for you?
So I think I'm going to avoid the cliche that I didn't find entrepreneurship found me. But for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to operate my own business. And, that took some deliberation and some contemplating and all of that. But eventually in 2007, I decided that I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And I started part-time with a clothing company. It's a Jamaican brand where it focused on the Jamaican expressions and putting interpretations in English. So that's how I started out. And it was just a desire, I think, because of how I grew up and not having like a solid family structure. And, as we say in Jamaica, born with gold spoon in your mouth. I wasn't born with that. And so I just wanted to create a path for myself and those around me to know that things can be better and things can be different, and our destinies are all in our hands, really. So I think that's what led me there.
I like that because you're right. A lot of people sometimes don't think, they just fall into it. Some, it's their nature. And I feel like for you, you found it and it shows in your glow and it's something that's comfortable for you. And with that said, as everybody knows, as being an entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur or even owning your own business, it sometimes affects your life, in different aspects, health, your personal life. Has health always been a part of your life, like being healthy, or has it affected, or is it something that you believe that grew once you become an entrepreneur?
So the thing is, so when I recognized that I could do entrepreneurship and I realized I could do anything I wanted to do, and I began to explore, and one thing led to another. I became author, I'm speaking, I am creating new brands, I am doing events, and just listening to that, perhaps it's a bit tiring, right? So I did all of those things because I recognized, hey, wait a minute, I can actually do these things. So the more I did and I recognized I could do more, the more I really did more. And in doing that more, because since 2007, when I became an entrepreneur, I had not rested at all. And I'm 13 years in, almost 14 years in entrepreneurship. And so there was no break. I was just going, I was traveling, I was, doing all these many things surrounding the various aspects of entrepreneurship that I'm in. And so I literally crashed in 2020, like right smack in the middle of the pandemic. I had a health crisis, and that health crisis took many forms. And it's one that I never thought that I could recover from, and I would ever recover from, and I would ever even live to be seeing today. So I'm so grateful that I'm here, because that path of entrepreneurship, I'm not blaming entrepreneurship by any means, but it's just I didn't take responsibility for my health. I didn't take responsibility for self-care and taking care of me and taking care of the things that really matter. I was just so focused and driven, in the hustle and the grind and team no sleep kind of a thing, right? Until I really had a crash in 2007, 2020, which lasted 4 months, and one that I'm still recovering from. Hence, because I believe that with every situation, there's an opportunity that follows that. So out of that health crisis came a very important movement, right? Which I wanted to share with the world now, that look here, it's not just about the hustle and the grind. It's not just about going without stopping and resting and taking care of yourself and, making sure that you are well and whole. So out of that came the message to me directly to slow down and live. It was like God was actually speaking to me when he led me to a devotional that says slow down and live. And I read it, and every word that I read resonated with me in a very strong and profound way. And as a result of that, I just thought I need to have this event, this conference, because all of us entrepreneurs and professionals, that's how we are, right? We are just going, and especially in this digital age when everything is coming at you and you recognize, okay, that person over there is doing that. Maybe I need to try this. And you're getting in this rat race and being distracted by bright, shiny objects. And so we forget that we need to slow down and live.
You know what's funny is your thought process is closely aligned to what I was thinking last year. Because when I did the same thing, but mine was different, an online summit. I felt like, because I am a certified personal trainer, I felt a lot of people thought health was only physical, right? And, and I felt, just too many questions that there's not that much information related, that there's more than one health aspects of your life. Like if you're a business person, it's not financial health that you should be thinking about. It's not your business health. There's other aspects that are going to affect your business health and your financial health. So it's nice to hear that you say that. And I think for anything from anybody that's watching or listening, what routines have you placed in your life to help you slow down and live?
Oh, well, because first of all, I was forced to do that.
Okay. You should see your face when you see that. It's like, I was no choice. I had
no choice in the matter. I was forced to do it. And so I had to yield and give in to my body and what it was saying to me. But it was just physical, as you've mentioned. It was just so much more. It was emotional, it was mental, it was psychological, and to the point where I really had to start seeing a psychiatrist.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so, I mean, I haven't shared the story in detail, but the essence of the story is that having gone to over 10 doctors, my 11th doctor was a naturopath. And that's when in July, because this started in April. I mean, it would have started long before, but the very hard hitting impact happened on April 1 and continued for months. And like I said, even now I'm still healing. So it was when I went to my naturopath, and some of the things that was recommended by her, of course, over time and based on my research and stuff, I'd started doing, but it became a more structured thing. So one of the things for me that self-care, like there are some non-negotiable things for me. I get up in the mornings at 5, for example, and I have my devotion for half an hour. Then I go walking for another hour. I come back, kind of prep my breakfast by between 6:30 and 7. I'm having my breakfast non-negotiable between 7 and 8. Having my lunch non-negotiable between 2 and 3. And that's it. I only have meals 2 times per day. I've switched my diet to a vegan diet, so I no longer eat flesh or any animal derivatives. So it's just living off plants and whole food plant-based diet and just taking time out. So when I feel tired, rather than just sitting at the computer and just going daily, I just go outside, I water the lawn, I remove weeds from the lawn, I take a walk, or things like those. So it's a myriad of things that I do. I deep breathe. I just make sure that I find time for people too, because before I had very limited time, or I wouldn't make time for people because I was just so caught up in what I'm doing. But no, I do make time for people, albeit in an even more structured way, because I know filter out a lot more persons, because if I think somebody is toxic in my space or anything like that, I'm not just going to be embracing them. But I do make time to have conversations with persons daily. Just, what, I don't have to do this. Or if I feel tired, like right now in the season more, I don't have like a plan, a structured plan. So I get up in the mornings, outside of those routine things that I do, I get up in the mornings and I just say, okay, I mean, I have an idea of the things that I want to do for the day, but I don't have it in a structured form that if I don't get to do all of them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't get to do this. And oh my gosh, no, it's fine. Right. I just don't do it if I don't feel like doing it. If I just get up and I feel like to be a lazy bum these days, I just be a lazy bum.
I feel that. That's what I'm going through right now. There's days I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to do that. No, I'm okay. No, I don't. I'm okay. Mentally, I'm okay. And then you're right. I'm very, very protective of my mental health. I I don't deal with I don't deal with toxic people. I don't deal with negative people. Once I realize you're that, you need to be out of my life. Like there's no concept. And I think from what I'm hearing from you is by making those changes and those one or two structural moments in your life, how does that benefit your overall health and your business success?
Oh my gosh. I mean, all of this started like 2020 for me was really the year when things began to change. And so what I needed to have done over many years, I started doing last year. And I have seen that even though I've not fully recovered, I am in a way better place than when I thought I was healthy, to be honest with you.
Nice.
I'm in a way better place emotionally, mentally, physically. The things that I'm eating and just how I'm looking at life and how I'm really, really gung-ho about taking care of me first. Like I am unashamed about it, unbashful about it. I'm resolute that I'm taking care of me. And if something doesn't sit well with me, if I'm in a group and it's just like, I don't like the energy that's coming from that, I'm taking myself away, because I think with that, it has brought a deeper sense of identity, an acceptance of that identity of who I am, because sometimes you're in some spaces and persons don't really understand and appreciate the value and the worth that you bring. And so you sometimes seem like you're a sore thumb and you're the only one sticking out. Because the truth is, and there was a time more when I was uncomfortable with that, but I have gotten so comfortable with it that, you know what, it's okay. I'm different and I embrace my difference and it's fine. And I am going to be me. I'm going to stick with my tribe, bring the value to them, the ones that want to have received the value from me, the ones that only want to take what I bring to the table, but not my entire being. It's okay. I'm not about that life. I'm not about that life at all.
I get what you're saying, because when it comes down to it, at one point you want to be everything for everybody else, but you realize that you're not for everybody. You have to realize that certain people will fit within your realm and they're meant for you and you're meant to help them. So for me, one of the things people are surprised and my clients are surprised that I will fire you if you start taking a lot of my energy and you make me and I feel miserable, I will get rid of you because money doesn't drive me. Money doesn't drive me. Like it's nice, don't get me wrong, but if the money you're giving me and the mental health is worse and it's more painful, I will cut you off. I will fire you. And it's true. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are always thinking, customers are first, clients are first, and they give 150% and they meet a lot of toxic people. And it's like what you said was basically, if your energy is not in vibe, I just have to realize that I'm not for you. You need to find somebody else that fits your realm.
Yeah, because we're not for everybody, and that's it. The thing is, we're trying to be all things to all people, and we're really not for everybody. We are for some persons. Like there are so many people out there that are waiting for awesomeness to be deposited, in them, and for us to serve them, and we are hanging on to those that are not embracing us, not appreciating what we bring, because you're not like everybody else, and you don't fit in. Why are you trying to hang on? Let them go. It's all right. Let them go. Let them go.
I find that you remind me, like when I look at you and I hear you talk, you're like, after what happened to me in April, no, I'm good.
The truth is, I was somebody who I believe I always had that in me. I was always that person, but I have 10x that person now. Like seriously, 10x that person.
Because I'm happy for you. Like I am. I'm happy for you. Like you look at peace. Yes. That's what I can say. You look at peace.
Yes, absolutely.
With that said, I know that you do online events. You're a podcaster like myself, and you've done online summits. So I guess my question to you really is, why all those? Like, what made you feel like you needed to create the podcast? You need to do the online health summit as well as events. What made you feel like that was something that was needed in our society?
What can I tell you? So I like to think, although not very way ahead of the game, I was ahead of the game. Everybody know and his wife is on, think online is a thing. Like I knew it was from way back when, right? And I started my podcast in 2017, having had the same name of the show, the Entrepreneurial You, on one of our leading radio stations here. I did that. Well, okay, you're there. So suddenly something flashed up my screen and like, what happened? I didn't see you.
Okay, start over. It's okay, start over. You can finish.
Right. So in 2014, I pretty much started the Entrepreneurial You, which is a radio version when I had it on radio. And that lasted for 3 seasons in Jamaica on Power 106. And it was 13 weeks each season. So 2014, 15, and 16, I did the Entrepreneurial You on radio. And it was a short 15-minute show, but was very packed with 3 segments in that show. But I thought, you know what? I want to reach more people. I want to be global because I know I'm a global girl, you know?
Go with your bad self.
I'm global. I'm global. And so I decided that I'm going to, long story short, I'm going to do a podcast. And I started in 2017. And on 12th of this month, January, I will be looking at observing my 200th episode where I'm having Seth Godin as my repeat guest coming on to celebrate with me. We're talking about his new book, The Practice, Shipping Creative Work. So that was one of the things. And then in 2000, in that same year when I started the podcast, I recognized I was connecting with all these CNN, Forbes, TEDx speakers, featured people. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to take like 18 speakers from 4 different countries over 4 different days. And I created a SME virtual summit and expo where I had speakers, but I also had persons, you know, like my speakers and sponsors were able to display their products, their services digitally. So that was the expo concept of it. So aspect of it. So it was that because I recognized, hey, I'm having all these people. Let me connect them in another way. And so the virtual summit happened in 2017, that same year when I launched the Entrepreneurial You then. And I mean, I also did, which is it's an offline event, which is really online because it's streamed, which is the Leadercast event that I host in Jamaica. Leadercast is based in Atlanta, Georgia. It's the largest one-day leadership event globally. See my banner here for when we're doing live stuff. For those that can see, right? Those who will not be able to hear it.
It'll be on YouTube if you want to go see it.
YouTube, right. So I did that and I recognized that, hey, I'm bringing all, you know, this amazing content on leadership and so on. And there's just so much hunger for it, with the mantra being developing leaders that are worth following. So there is that. And then, of course, as I alluded to, when my health became challenged earlier this year, I decided, you know what? I love to use my lemons to make lemonade. And impact, you know, create impact there. So hence, Slow Down and Live, Health is Wealth online summit was born. No, that happened on the 6th of January, but the replay is there until March and people are just loving it. The content that I looked at is really not what traditional medicine is looking at. So I'm looking at in the event, looked at adrenal fatigue, which is what I was diagnosed with. Magnesium and mental health and, you know, whole food, plant-based diet and just so many things. And the good thing is, all of these speakers, they are speaking from a place of experience because that's how they are now, you know, they at one point or another, their health was also challenged. And so they're sharing what it is that helped them along the way. So, and it's also what has helped me along the way too. So I wanted to share that with my community and the replays there. So I know that you'll have stuff in the show notes that we can share as well for persons who may think, you know, let me get the replay. And it's just for like $9.99 or something like that. So
what is the website? Like just for people that are interested, what is the platform to reach you?
Okay, so my website is henekawatkis-porter.com. And of course, when you go on that website, then you will see, you know, click here at the top of the website to attend Slow Down and Live. And so you can access it from there. It's on Hey Summit. That's the platform that is hosted on. But I've also created a bit.ly link for it, which is bit.ly/slowdownandlive1, the numeral 1. So there are many ways to access it. And if you just, you know, if you're listening to this show podcast and you want, or you're viewing, and you want to reach out to me personally, I am, I love connecting. One of the things I love to do is to connect with people globally. And that is why I really wanted to do the podcast, because I know from, I just knew how much technology has enabled us to stay wherever I'm in Jamaica and reach somebody in South Africa or in New Zealand or wherever in the world, that you are. So reach out to me at henekawatkis.com. There is a WhatsApp icon on the right hand side, I think the bottom right of the page. If you send a WhatsApp message, it comes directly to my phone, and I'd be happy to engage with you, especially if you're a foreigner, because I love I love my Jamaican people, don't get me wrong, but I love to connect with people from outside, because it reminds me of how small the world is and that we're just in a global space. We're in everybody's backyard just by having a phone in our hands. So
we have a big community over here in Toronto, Canada with Jamaicans. So I expect some of them are listening and why I'm like, okay, we need to connect with Heneka.
Yes. I'll be happy to connect with them as well.
With that said, I'm thinking, what's next? Because listen to you, I thought I was making me feel lazy, but go ahead.
Oh my gosh, what's next? I don't have like all the things that it's funny because so before I answer what's next, it's so funny that I share that usually at the end of every year, I would take like 3 days and I would goal set and all of these things and assess the year ahead that passed and look at the year coming. At the end of 2019, like I just did not get that resolve in my spirit to do it. And so I kind of figure out why. When 2020 unfolded, I realized that, first of all, I was severely ill. And secondly, with the pandemic and stuff, like I just had to stay put anyway. So there wasn't really much that I could have done. So even if I would have made plans, it would have like, whatever. But everything that I had done this year, or 2020, were things that were already in motion. So when I published my fifth book, I'd already begun writing that in November of the previous year. I spoke at 3 events in the US on the subject of podcasting. And those, again, were things that were in action, in motion from 2019. Things that I'm just doing now, I'm just going to be continuing. What's next for me, really? I don't have anything new and big on the agenda. I'm just doing less to accomplish more. And I find that even in 2020, when, I began to even panic, like, oh my gosh, I can't earn because I'm not well and this is happening. And then when I just relax myself and just decide, you know what, just surrender to the process and just go with the flow and everything. That's when jobs began to come into me and like clients and everything. And so, persons now begin to, I'm never out of work from I began, being able to work back again in 2020. They're just coming in, things are coming in, things that seeds that I planted began to grow and water. I picked up a distributor for my new book. I'm producing podcasts for clients, I'm coaching, I'm doing masterminds. So those are things that I'm just taking my time to do and will continue to do, but even do them better. But nothing new and big and awesome as somebody would see it, but it's just continuing and watering or continue to reap from what would have been sown many years ago previously.
I think yes and no, but for me, I think I felt like what you're saying is what's next. Like, you're continuing that journey. You're not reverting back to what was making you sick, right? You've been blessed. Like a lot of people don't realize that sometimes not doing too much, it will bring you. I could tell. I could tell. And you seem so much calmer. I don't know you personally. I've never, but just I can tell that your aura is very calm.
Oh, very right now, like very, 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 very. I'm so intentional about it. So intentional of not getting worked up. So intentional of putting me first, and because self-care isn't selfish at all. Self-care, because you love others and you want to be around for them, then you realize the importance of taking care of you. It's no accident that when you go on the plane, when when you start traveling again, and they tell you that, should something happen, that you need to put your own mask on first. Because if you're not in a good place to help somebody else, then you're really not in a good place at all. And both you and that person are going down, right? So first save yourself, and then you can help others.
I like that.
Save yourself first.
yes, she's saying, self-care is not bad. It's not being selfish. With that said, I want to say thank you very much for having this conversation. I felt like, you were like the future me that could have happened. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going in the right path. So I don't need to do that much. And I'm very comfortable with that. And I really want to say, I commend you. Congratulations on your success. Because I know how hard it is. I know there's days that you just like, you wake up and you're out of your bed and you're just like, why? And for you to do all that, especially, as somebody coming from our background, like you have to open up a lot of doors and push through people that are basically trying to, push you back, or they basically think that you can't do it. I get the mentality. I get it. So I want to say congratulations. I wish you all the best. And anything else you want to say before I let you go?
Well, I just want to, again, thank you so much for this opportunity to just have this chat with you, very frank and open chat. And I just want to encourage your audience as well to slow down and live. There is nothing in this life. I mean, I'm all for the good things, I'm all for the travel and the this and that, whatever. But, I always tell my husband, like, in my next life, that lifestyle where you just pick up and you live out of a one backpack and you travel you're like that digital nomad. Like, I am so there. I'm so willing, that. Like in a moment's notice, I will just get up and go and just do that. Just live in a couple of t-shirts and a jeans and just I don't know. It just appeals to me.
Calm.
That simplicity and calm. It appeals to me a whole lot. But my husband is not about that life. So he's not about that. So anyways, I want to encourage, your audience to slow down. If you want to, outside of that, if you want to connect with me to train you, to coach you in starting your own podcast, or if you want to be a part of a mastermind to level up, I host mastermind sessions. I coach, business, leadership, and podcasting. I also produce podcasts for companies who want to do their podcast, but they don't have the time for it. I do that. And just, connect with me. I want to hear your story. I really want to hear your story. So I love to hear from you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today on our weekly episode of Health Your Way Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share with others, and please feel free to comment below and ask any questions on topics we discussed, as well as future topics you'd like to hear about. Have a happy and healthy week, and be sure to tune in next week for the next episode on a Health Your Way Podcast.